How we doing today, guys? It's Jesse with the Common Man, Corpus Christi, with a little news here for you. So I got a phone call from a buddy of mine last week when the Biden mandate speech came out. And so there was a news article from Just the News this morning that I thought would be very informative for the rest of y'all, for a lot of you concerned about the vax mandate with OSHA and your jobs and everything else. I know a lot of you have concerns about those kind of things, so I figured this might give you a little bit of hope. We are fighting back. This is not a done and settled thing. So let's get started. More than half of U.S. states vow to fight Biden's vaccine mandate. This is from Just the News. So 27 Republican governors or attorney generals have vowed to fight the latest executive order. Let's go down. Oop, too far. 27 Republican governors or attorney generals have vowed to fight the latest executive order issued by President Joe Biden mandating that over 80 million private employees receive COVID vaccinations or undergo weekly testing, or their employer will be fined. So this was updated September 13th to 2021, just an FYI too. The executive order directs the U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Safety and Health Administration, OSHA as most of us know them, to require private businesses with more than 100 employees mandate that their workers receive both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine or undergo weekly testing. Noncompliance would result in fines of $14,000 per violation. The governors who expressed opposition include those from Arizona, Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Republican attorney generals from the state with Democratic governors who have also vowed to fight include Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron and Louisiana AG Jeff Landry. So it's not just the governors, it's attorney generals in certain states that have Democratic governors that are fighting back too. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, with whom Biden has sparred over mask mandates and vaccine passports, said Florida would fight back. Love that guy. When you have a president like Biden issuing unconstitutional edicts against the American people, we have a responsibility to stand up for the Constitution and to fight back. And we are doing that in the state of Florida, he said. This is a president who has acknowledged in the past he does not have the authority to force this on anybody, and this order would result in potentially in millions of Americans losing their jobs. And in time of crisis, that's a really bad thing because we still have hugely high unemployment numbers. Should be trying to get everybody back to work. Texas, which is already embroiled in several lawsuits with the Biden administration, vowed to sue. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said after hearing Biden's announcement that Texas is already working to halt this power grab. And a Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, like that guy too, said Texas would be suing the Biden administration very soon. Lawsuits are great and all, but we need legitimate legislation that is going to fight back against this executive order. So, and that's something that Texas will be working on very soon too. I don't remember if that gets it in here, but I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Missouri Governor Mike Parson said OSHA cannot dictate, that's my home state by the way, OSHA cannot dictate personal health care decisions for Missourians. Missouri is not under an OSHA state plan, and Parson will not allow state employees to be used. Will not be used to enforce this unconstitutional action. That doesn't make any sense because they quoted Parson, that's weird. Oh well, Parson speaking in the third person? That doesn't make any sense. I think they just quoted that wrong. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster vowed to fight Biden, saying the American dream has turned into a nightmare. Under President Biden and the radical Democrats, they have declared war against capitalism, thumbed their nose at the Constitution, and empowered our enemies abroad. Rest assured, we will fight them to the gates of hell to protect the liberty and livelihood of every South Carolinian. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey said, governors don't report to Joe Biden. Governors don't report to the federal government. The states created the federal government, and Joe Biden has stepped out of his reach. And Ducey is dead right about that. Absolutely right about that. We, the people, came together to form the federal government to protect our rights, not cause tyranny on us. These mandates are outrageous, and they will never stand up in court. We must and will push back. I hate everybody referring to the court all the time. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rickey indicated he was working with a group of AGs to file a lawsuit. My team and I, along with other like-minded attorney generals, are reviewing all legal action on how to stand against these authoritarian actions by the Biden administration, he said in a statement. The Republican National Committee also announced it was suing to protect Americans and their liberties if the proposed rule change were to go into effect. In response to Republican pushback, White House senior advisor Cedric Richmond, a former Democratic congressman from Louisiana, told CNN the White House expected the opposition. He said, "Those governors that stand in the way, I think it was very clear from the president's tone today, he will run them over." Okay, I'm going to stop right there for a second. You just had a presidential spokesperson, right? Senior advisor, White House senior advisor, Cedric Richmond, right here just said the president of the United States will run over the governors of your states to enforce this garbage on you. Well, if that doesn't sound totalitarian, I don't know what the hell is. Remind me which side was accused of being the dictators again? I digress. So let's finish this up real quick. And it is important. It's not for political purposes. It is to save the lives of American people. And so we won't let one or two individuals stand in the way. We will always err on the side of protecting the American people. Well, listen here, Cedric, okay? Mr. Richmond, it's not just a few governors standing in your way and attorney generals. It's over half the states that are fighting back against you. And for every one of you watching this and listening to this, know that it's not over. This fight is not over. It will not be over until we say it's over. Not them. They do not control us. We control them. We surround them. They answer to us. All right? So you've already seen Texas and a lot of these other governors and attorney generals are fighting back. Texas has a special session starting here in September. I think it's at the end of September. It's supposed to start. And I know I announced this on the Facebook page. Go back and look at some of my old Facebook posts. It's there from last week when a lot of this came out. Governor Abbott almost immediately responded the second the speech was over, saying he's already adding it to the special session, which was already it was already in the special session for to write legislation to fight back against these vaccine passports, these vaccine mandates, and all the rest of this kind of stuff. So nothing is lost. The battle is far from over. So what I need you to do now, any of you watching this, I need you to get a hold of your politicians, your representatives in your area, your representatives, and even the representatives that aren't in your area as long as they're in your state. And I want you to politely email, call them, and if you have the time or a chance, head up to Austin and talk to them in person. They are your representatives. They work for you. Your tax dollars cover their salaries and all the rest of their expenses while they are in Austin. So let's remind them of that. And when we reverberate that in Texas, it is going to go everywhere across this country, just like it always has. So get a hold of your politicians. Tell them we will not stand for this. You ban any private business or public institution that is trying to mandate a vaccine mandate. And if they try it, you fine them into oblivion. You know, we used to be the laissez-faire side of things where we just let everybody run rampant and kind of do what they wanted when it came to business because we knew businesses' interests were normally personal and not political. They were interested in making money. And normally that worked out in everybody's favor. But it's not just about money anymore. We could deal with greedy people. We have prisons for that. Now you have businesses and government agencies acting as political actors. And until they decide to stop doing that, until they decide to quit acting like political agents of the Democratic Party and of all of this insanity that has come out of the left-wing nut jobs, then guess what, boys? We're coming after you too. So call your politicians, call your representatives in your state, and let them know we will not stand for this. We want these banned, vaccine mandates banned from the institutional level as well as the private businesses. No one gets to force a medical procedure on you or anyone else. Remember, my body, my choice. And guess what? The efficacy of all of this? I'm not going to get into it because YouTube will ban us. But we can fight back. It's not over. Get a hold of your politicians. Get a hold of your legislatures. Let's see what they can do. We're going to get this passed. We're going to force a constitutional crisis because what's going to happen is these governor's rules and the governor's executive order. That's the other thing the governor needs to do. We need to call Abbott and tell him an executive order barring this from businesses and everybody else. Now, he already did it for government institutions within the state of Texas. But if he bars this for everything, my understanding is it'll cause a constitutional crisis, and that causes it to go directly to the Supreme Court. Well, not directly to the Supreme Court, but it advances the process a lot faster than what it would normally take. So get a hold of your legislatures, call them, get them to ban this, private and public. Okay? This game is over, and this is only going to stop when we stop it. So get a hold of your politicians. Make sure that this legislation in this next session here in Texas passes, and there's no loopholes, and there's no BS, and there's no gotchas or get out of jail free cards for any of these businesses or any of the rest of these groups out there. My body, my choice. Get a hold of your legislatures. Get a hold of your representatives. Get this done. Tell them that you will not force me to take anything I do not want to just to keep my job. This is garbage. This is BS. This is unconstitutional. They know it. You know it. Now get off your butt and do something about it. Get a hold of those representatives and remind them who they work for. This is Jesse with the Common Man, Corpus Christi. Just a friendly reminder, guys, to if you want to support the channel in any way you possibly can, go check out our Teespring store. We got a couple of neat little shirts over there. Nothing super fancy yet, but we're working on things. So if you got a chance, you got a little extra money, you want to order a t-shirt, really help out the channel. Thanks, guys.